sailed in huge double-hull canoes that could carry 200 to 300 people. They brought with them a new culture, a new language rooted in the Austronesian language that evolved out of Southeast Asia and now spoken in the Eastern Pacific Islands. They were a polytheistic society, practiced animism, and built sacred temples of worship like this one. The high priest, ladies and gentlemen, offering up prayers to the gods, asking the gods to bless his people. Notice that our temple is built taller and higher. The belief was the taller the structure, the closer the communication with the ancestral gods.
Inong turanga. Sa solesa ka veke muni na mana. Kau kenanganga. Vede der tsunga. Nono muni tsiko vak turanga. Mana. Ndina.
The gods have just granted the chief and his people blessings. Now these newcomers introduced a social hierarchy system where chiefly titles were inherited by bloodlines and chiefs were believed to be descendants of ancestral gods. Ladies and gentlemen, standing before you here is a model of a chief. He wears around his waist a liko voi voi made from the dried pandanus leaves. Around his arms and ankles are the vesa, braided from the husk of the coconut fibers. He wears a mother pearl shell around his neck, symbolizing his rank in society, and he holds a wow in his hand as symbol of power and authority. Now he will invite his people to dance to Tura, a dance that depicts the arrival into this newfound land. Now, as these newcomers settled in the coastal areas of the larger islands, they continued to practice things that they brought with them. Things like the making of tapa, or bark cloth from the bark of the paper mulberry plant. The weaving of mats and baskets from the dried pandanus leaves. But there is one unique tradition that is no longer practiced in Polynesia, except the islands of Fiji, and that is the making of this pottery. It is called the lapita pottery. Everyone try saying that, lapita. Lapita. The lapita pottery is a low-fired earthenware pottery tempered with sand and shells. It is typically decorated with motifs and designs that you can see in bark cloth and also in tattoos. Ladies and gentlemen, our women will dance to you tulikuro, a dance that depicts the making of this pottery, the rich history behind it, and how it is still treasured today in the islands of Fiji.
kamu memuli wakavinaka Bewa kasingani ananaki tunumaka Na iuku memanasa levinaka Bata kila nida kantumai wasa.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pottery dance. Now, hundreds and hundreds of years later, as the Lapita people and its culture settled in Fiji and establishing themselves as the dominant race, the polished and decorated tooth of a sperm whale became the most prized and highly valued cultural item. It is called a tambua. Everyone try saying that, tambua. The tambua or sperm whale's tooth can be used for gifts of atonement or esteem. Sometimes it is used for negotiations with rival chiefs or rival tribes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to witness is a traditional ceremony called a dungudi. A dungudi is where the family of a male will present a whale's tooth to our host chief asking for his daughter's hand in marriage. Now, these marriage proposals are usually done to forge and solidify alliances with rival tribes and rival clans. It begins with the beating of the wooden drum called the lali, calling for people to assemble in front of the chiefly residence. In arriving at the chiefly residence, they will call out. This is the highest form of respect that chiefs will call out to each other. Only honorific languages of chiefs and nobles are used in ceremonies such as this.
Come on.
Wow! Oi! Oi!
Oi! Oi! Sa bagturang sa tsuwilu ni Titu Bagturang. Oi! Oi! Woo! Dasana kamuna medambar sa tsuwikiwi na.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man you hear speaking is the spokesperson of the rival chief. He's trying to find a way to connect his chief to the host chief through ancestral lineage before stating the purpose of his visit, which is the marriage proposal. Before accepting the marriage proposal, the host chief will summon his daughter. Andi Vavaloa. The host chief explaining to his daughter the purpose of the visit. The daughter, understanding the importance of this forging of the new alliance, has no choice but to accept this marriage proposal. The host chief, ladies and gentlemen, has officially accepted the marriage proposal, and they will begin with preparations for their wedding. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the daughter of the host chief, Andi Wabaloa. She wears around her waist barcloth or tapa made from the bark of the paper mulberry plant. Around her arms and back the trails. The longer the trail, the higher the rank in society. She wears around her neck a white cowrie shell, umbuli, and markings on her face symbolizing her rank in society. Standing next to her is the son of the rival chief, Ratu Tumbuya. He wears around his neck a mother pearl shell, also symbolizing his rank in society. Ladies and gentlemen, let's wish them well as they prepare for their wedding in a few weeks' time. Now, Fijian history and oral traditions talks a lot about rivalries between tribes and clans. When missionaries arrived to our shores, Fiji was in the middle of tribal warfare. Missionaries documented some of these events as ferociously vicious and inhumane. Some of the weapons used were the moto-sai-sai or the spear, the hula or the shot-throwing club. The hula or shot-throwing club was highly effective when your opponent was trying to escape. But the most commonly used weapon was the manda or the wau. It was used for close combat and can create a lot of damage. Oh, Zabadoo, Zabadoo,
Singa ni santa mundamu arua matua maindela ni watu mole mole kali ni sarabura kali ki manua o buni salu salu buni salu salu ni baga saravana to ni balalu to tura to malaka bose mana maina to ni bala
Ladies and gentlemen, the weapons dance. At the beginning of the 19th century, missionaries arrived to our shores. Old customs and old traditions were slowly integrated with new ones. Our temples were being replaced with churches and chapels. Grass skirts and bark cloth were no longer worn. It was reserved more for ceremonial attire. What is used today is a more modern attire. Now you might remember back in the days when a sperm whale's tooth was used to ask a father for his daughter's hand in marriage. Now it is only done as a formality. What precedes that is a Western style marriage proposal with an actual kneeling, a ring from Walmart, and she said yes. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the new couple. With the introduction of modern musical instruments like ukuleles and guitars, we dance to songs like this.
Tunategu malawani mataka kambu kambu atuna vindelan serenanda libe soko na waga tukimelo setaura talemana mai mai mau mai naru mai ngai tuina moto meleleita tunategu malawani mataka kambu kambu atuna vindelan serenanda libe soko na waga Kimelo se taura talemana mai mai mau mai naru mai ngai tuina moto meleleita tuna tegu malawani matata kambu kambu atuna vindalan serena lime soko na wanga kimelo se taura talemana mai mai mau mai naru mai ngai moto meleleita, hey!
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is customary in the islands of Fiji that whenever we have guests or important visitors like yourselves visit our shores and leave us, we sing to you our farewell song titled Isale. Isale has so many meanings, but today it simply means thank you very much for visiting us in our beautiful islands, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Ladies and gentlemen, standing before you here are students from the nearby Brigham Young University, and we want you to know that your being here allows these students to gain an education, return back home someday to their country, and help in the contribution of the development of their country. And for that, we are deeply grateful for your visit. Please give yourselves a round of applause.
Family and friends, as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, we are constantly reminded of our ancestors who braved the open sea and settled in Fiji almost 2,500 years ago. This is our story. We hope you have enjoyed it just as much as we've enjoyed presenting it here to you today. Binaka wakalevu and bisa mos.
Ở trong đây nó còn mấy trái nữa thì được ca cứ lấy gì á
Nói gì? Trái nhau nó về ngâm rượu uống mà đã lắm á. Đi. Bỏ vô bao đi, lấy nó về ngâm rượu uống. Đấy. Về ngâm rượu uống ngon lắm á. Dạ, ngâm rượu uống là